We're looking at some work that's part of an ongoing project here at Steatley Meadows, which is managed by Ryton Conservation Trust, particularly looking at coppicing willow for willow tit. Willow tit are an extremely challenging species. They're very fussy. They require edge habitat, such as we're looking at here. Plenty of tall herb, willow carr, primary woodland, wet woodland, which is a rare habitat. We're cutting the willow down to create different year classes, providing open areas that provides the invertebrates that the adult willow tits require. Dead timber, believe it or not, they excavate their own nesting hole. Very, very fussy. The long term is the habitat management, but we've got to do something now because this species is disappearing fast. So in the short term, we have decaying logs that we've strapped to the trees in the hope that will provide a choice habitat for them, and they will come along and nest in those. We're bark stripping. That kills a branch, doesn't kill the whole tree, but it kills the selected branch. That will then die and hopefully provide the willow tit with, once again, this excellent nesting habitat. This is being done through the Dunsmore Living Landscape project, paid for by Highways England, coordinated by Warwickshire Wildlife Trust, that links micro-charities like ourselves, who just couldn't do this without that type of coordination. Wide project means that species like the willow tit hopefully have a better future.
Earlier this year, we were pleased to have Nine Arches Press fund a new hedge along a ride at Diamond Wood in Rugby, which is fantastic for connectivity and for biodiversity. Not only did they fund this hedge, they also came out on site and helped plant it. Jane Kamain of Nine Arches will explain more.
Hello, I'm Jane Kamain, editor and director at Nine Arches Press. We're an independent poetry publisher based in Rugby in Warwickshire. Over the last year, we've been working with the Warwickshire Wildlife Trust as part of the Dunsmore Living Landscape project. This has involved everything from hedge planting to commissioning our poets to write poems about some of the wildlife that lives in the natural environment around us. We're really conscious of the impact that our industry, the publishing industry, has on the environment. So we've been really keen to look at this and consider what actions we might take on a local basis to address this, and how we can work to improve nature in our beautiful and unique surroundings in Warwickshire. This spring we worked with the Dunsmore Living Landscape project and got active in making change and having a positive impact on nature and our local environment. With their expertise, we've been getting our hands dirty quite literally, and we helped to plant a new hedgerow at Ashlawn Cutting in Rugby, which will help to improve the biodiversity and support different species of animals and insects. Working with the expertise of the Trust has been brilliant, and we're really proud that a business like Nine Arches has been able to make a difference in this way.
This is my poem that was written for Warwickshire Wildlife Trust. It's called Ode to a Dormouse Hidden in a Hedge. You are carved bright as a wedding ring, betrothed to spring's sweetness and heat, a heaped teaspoon of turmeric, waiting for the catkin-coloured sun to stir. You're a thimble sip of sherry, forgotten at the back of winter's dusty cupboard. Tiny stormkeeper, clasped tight inside a hazel purse, heart the size of a raindrop.
Historically, Ryton Pools was a sand and gravel quarry, and during these times there was a unique set of flora that called the site home. Over more recent times, nutrient enrichment of many of the nutrient-poor soils on site has led to a lot of species being drowned out by bramble. In order to address this, we've striven to undertake a process on site, removing the bramble and turning over the soil, inverting it completely down to a metre depth, to re-establish the original seed bank from the sand and gravel quarrying days. This has been highly successful and was a technique which we borrowed from the Brecklands of East Anglia. And it's seen species that we haven't seen in certain areas of the site recolonising in huge numbers. Among the species that have recolonised since this work were some nice finds, including a new species for the park at Ryton Pools in many-seeded goosefoot, and a number of other species which have been increasingly scarce on site have now recovered. Some of the really small, diminutive, sandy-loving species, parsley pear, blue fleabane and tiny little whitlow grasses have also recolonised this area as part of the work, so it's been a real success. And we must say great thanks to National Highways England, Networks for Nature project and the Dunsmore Living Landscape for the funding for this project.